In 1955, in the 1950s, in Montgomery, Alabama, and in many other cities around the South especially, it was a law that so-called colored people, as they were called then, had to sit at the back of the bus. Not only did they have to sit at the back of the bus, there was a section assigned that they had to sit in, but that section could be changed. If white people got on the bus and they needed the seat, then the sign that designated the colored section was moved further back to the back of the bus. That was the law. So one day, December 1st, 1955, a woman boarded the Cleveland Avenue bus in Montgomery, Alabama, after working all day at the Montgomery Fair department store. She got on the bus, she paid her fare, and she went to the back and sat down in the first row designated as the colored section of the bus. Next stop, some white people got on. They sat down where they were supposed to sit. Next stop, same thing. The third stop, close to the Empire Theater in Montgomery. Some white people got on. The white section was already full. So the bus driver stood up, moved to the back of the bus, took the sign and moved it further back, and said, "Okay, get up and move back. These people need your seats." They all sat there for a moment. The bus driver said, "Okay, make it easy on yourself and move to the back." And some of them got up and moved, all except for one person. And one person was a woman named Rosa Parks. She did move, but she moved toward the window to allow other people to sit beside her. The bus driver said, "You need to get up and move. Are you going to move?" And she said, "No, I don't think so." He said, "You know, if you don't move, I'm going to have you arrested." And she basically said, "Well, do what you need to do." So the bus driver got a police officer, came on the bus, and he arrested Rosa Parks for breaking the law, not giving up her seat on the bus. And as he was arresting her, she asked him, "Why do you treat us like this?" And the arresting officer said, "I don't know, it's the law." And she went peacefully, got off the bus, went peacefully, and was arrested. As a result of her arrest, other people called for a boycott of the Montgomery bus transit system. Of all black people to boycott the buses for one day. They said, "You can walk, you can carpool, but just don't ride the bus." And the black people in Montgomery were 75% of the ridership of the transit system at that time. So that one day, Monday, December 5th, it was raining. But the community stood together and they boycotted the bus system that day. And they boycotted the bus system for 382 days. 382 days. And I don't know if you've ever been to Alabama, but it gets hot and mucky in the summertime. And it probably gets pretty cold sometimes in the winter. But some people were willing to walk 20 miles to their job in order to be in solidarity and to support the boycott, to make a change, and to do what was right. So what did it take for Rosa Parks to make the decision that day? Now, given she had been active, this wasn't her first rodeo, so to speak. She had been active with the NAACP and other organizations. But whatever happened that day, she decided she had enough. And it took a sense of self to make that choice. She said that people always thought that she didn't get up because she had worked all day and she was old and tired. She said the only thing I was tired of giving in. Tired of being treated less than. And so in that moment, she gathered as much self-awareness as possible. I deserve to be treated equally. We deserve to be treated equally. I'm not defined by my race, my color of my skin. I'm not defined by my gender. I'm not defined by anything on the external. I am, I would say, a child of the divine, a child of God. And I, as a child of God, am equal to all the children of God. And I am worthy of being treated with kindness and equality and compassion and justice. And so she exhibited that sense of self-awareness and self-love to take that stand. But you know what else she did was that she didn't try to shame the other people who got up and left. She recognized there was too much for them to lose. She gave them respect as well, and she respected the bus driver, and she respected the arresting officer. She didn't resist. She exhibited the awareness of equality for even those people who would treat her as unequal. Not only did she recognize herself as a child of God, but she recognized them as that as well. It also took courage. Now, courage is not necessarily an absence of fear, but it's being willing to walk through the fear. She said, I've learned over the years that when one's mind is made up, this diminishes fear. Knowing what must be done does away with fear. So when she knew what was right and what was just, and she took a stand for that, it took courage. In the scripture, it says For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound mind. And so we take that to heart. We know. And when we know, and we know that we know what is right, and we are committed to doing what is right, as she said, fear has no meaning. Even if we feel it, it's our opportunity to walk through it. It also required her to have a vision. A vision for what is possible. Equality. I would like to be known as a person who is concerned about freedom and equality and justice and prosperity for all people. A vision of freedom and equality and justice and prosperity for all people was her vision. And so the vision of that which is possible was calling her to do what she knew to be right, to muster the courage to take a stand for equality for all people. And the people who participated with the boycott also required courage, a willingness. How many of us would take a stand and walk 20 miles in the heat and humidity, although we don't have that here, if we would walk for 20 miles? Or even ride a bike a mile to stand for what we believe is right. And so today, I want to invite us, I'm calling us to a boycott. Oh yeah, Proverbs 29:18, where there is no vision, the people perish. So we stated earlier, our vision is a spiritually awakened world living oneness. Oneness. So if we hold that vision, I'm calling us today to a boycott. And what I mean by that is, I'm calling us to boycott our own thinking that separates us from other people. I want us to boycott our own minds that say, I'm defined by my social status, I'm defined by my skin color, or someone else is defined by their skin color, or their social status, or their sexual orientation, or their nationality, or their political affiliation, or any other label we want to place on ourselves or others. Boycott those ideas. Don't get on that bus. But get on the bus of self-awareness that you are a divine expression of God. And so is everybody else. Get on the bus that goes to that place of oneness, where we know we're one, where there is no separation, no segregation in our own minds, and that's where it begins. And take a stand. Take a stand. Are we courageous enough to take a stand when we witness that happening in the world around us, when we witness it happening in our families, when we witness it happening in our workplaces, when we witness it happening in our world, are we willing to take a stand against? I don't want to say that. Are we willing to take a stand for equality, oneness, justice? I'm also going to invite us to boycott those ideas that would cause us to feel that fear. Boycott the ideas that we are not enough. Boycott the idea that one person can't make a difference. Boycott the idea that one act doesn't make a difference. And invite us to take a stand for what we know to be true, what we know to be right, what we know to be just. Taking a stand for equality. I'm not telling you how to do that. I think that's an individual decision, an individual choice, that we're each in different places where we are in our lives. But to move past that place of fear, I talked about that last week. Moving from fear to faith. To take a stand for what we believe in. And to hold the vision. You know, a lot of people would say to us that racism is dead in our country. Some people believe that. But it's not. I want to share with you just a short paragraph from Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King's speech from 1963. I have a dream. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted, every hill and mountain shall be made low. The rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. This is our hope. This is the faith that I go back to the South with. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. So I invite us to hold that vision together, where we see so much dissension and separation and divisiveness. I invite us to boycott those ideas of separation and divisiveness. I invite us to boycott the ideas of defining ourselves by any of those labels. I invite us to take a stand for equality and unity and togetherness, and kindness and compassion and empathy. I invite us to take a stand for the vision of a world living in harmony and love and peace for all people. All people.